to ask you about like first impressions of spring, but spring are nearly over. So from what you've seen, basically in almost all of spring at this point,
right,
from your group, what are your impressions of your group?
Number one, I think that we have a great group of kids that come to work every single day. I think that there's some talented kids in there that can be viable assets for us. I think that we still have a lot of work to do in our unit. But I think it's one that can be definitely a contributor to our offense and our team, not only on offense but also in special teams. It's been a lot of fun to coach.
Did you have any other like prior either experience or connection with HUNH systems like Norvell and what Kenny's bringing here by way of just like schematically for what the tight ends are, a little unique?
Not so, right. Like a lot of football, you kind of like there's carryover, right? There's familiarity with certain concepts and stuff like that. So. Important, but the actual system, no, not at all.
What was attractive about this job and coming out here?
Like honestly, like it's Oregon, right? Like it's one of those. I was telling my wife when we took this job, it's one of those places that you kind of dream about a little bit, or you think about from far off, and you're like, man, I wonder if we'll ever, probably not, have a chance to work there. You know what I mean? But now that we're here, it's awesome. And it's everything that you think that it is. Actually, in my opinion, it's better, right? Because there's a bunch of blue-collar people around here that work really hard, that care about the university, the brand, that are here to support you. And it's not a bunch of people that are waiting for their handout for you just to show up and, hey, create some results out of thin air. There's a lot of people that say, what can we do to help you? You know what I mean? And that's been, honestly, really, really cool.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have high expectations of working here or playing here, but now that you're in the building and you're in the operation, like, has there been anything that's emerged that you just didn't realize that was even here from what your perceptions were of Oregon?
I think that there's always like new stuff about this place because I mean, like, when you get here and I was like, oh, we have an indoor, and they're like, yeah, but we're building a new one, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. What's that look like? Wow, awesome, like that's incredible. I think there's always new stuff about that, and I think that the high expectations for this place are merited, right? This place has had a lot of success because of the hard work of people like Rob Mullins and Phil Knight and those people that have put a lot of time, sweat, and energy into this program. So it should have high expectation. I think our staff, Coach Lanning's got high expectations for us. So that part is really exciting because I like to be around competitive environments and high-achieving people. So this part's been really, really cool.
You had a really young start to your coaching career after your injury in college, and there's also a lot of youth on the coaching staff. How do you think that youth really helps the coaching staff as a whole, both in connecting with the kids and also out on the recruiting trail?
I think that, like, in the sense of youth, right, there was like a little bit of a balance between like youthful energy and sage wisdom that comes from the many years of coaching. I think that we've got a nice, healthy balance. I do think that we do have a lot of energy on our staff, regardless of age. Which I think is awesome, and I think it feeds into our players. And I think there's a lot of positive people on our staff and positive people in our organization that bring that type of energy rather than, oh no, I've got to come to work. It's exciting to come to work and exciting to work with these people. So regardless of age, and I do think that we have a fairly young staff comparatively, but it's been a positive and energetic one. So even so, like it's been awesome.
As you've gone about learning this offense yourself before getting into spring in terms of the H and the A roles and what Kenny's looking for in those, what have you conveyed to your group by way of how you're trying to differentiate what you're looking for from the H, the A, and specifically in those spots?
I think that we haven't necessarily said, hey, like you are going to play this role and then you are going to play that role. I think that right now it's just if we're in 11 personnel, this is what this role ends up looking like. And if right now we're in 12 personnel, and I don't think that we're far enough down the road to say like you're definitely this and you're definitely that. I don't think that we're going to find that out in 13 practices, right? Because everybody has a different floor that they started from, and so it's up to me as a coach to develop them. So, but it's been exciting because they play all over the place. And the one thing that I have conveyed is that I want to be the best unit on the team, regardless, just out of competitive nature.
Patrick Herbert and Cam McCormick coming along?
I think they've been awesome in the meetings and stuff like that. They're doing a great job. You'll have to ask Coach Lanning on terms of their timelines and stuff like that, but they're awesome to be around. I'm super thankful to have them in our room. Cam's been around a long time, so he's got a lot of great wisdom to share with some of our younger players. So Pat's doing an awesome job as well.
That Oregon has had a long history of guys that have produced and even gotten into the NFL. What do you want your group to be known for? Just a characteristic of the room for you.
I want us to be the best unit in the country, and if we're not trying to be that, what are we doing? So do I want them all to have an opportunity to go play in the NFL and follow the footsteps of some of these guys that have come prior to them? Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be awesome, but we're very one day at a time, one play at a time focused, and if we're not that, right, you're going to end up getting caught looking in the stars, and the rest of it's going to pass you by.
What are you looking for when you recruit or when you're coaching a player here, just the characteristics of a tight end? What are the skill sets that you look for?
I think there's obviously a size requirement that exists. I don't think that you can be my size and block DJ Johnson. He's pretty impressive. But there's a size requirement. But I think that in this program, Coach Lanning's made it clear that he wants high character people in our program. In our position, you got to be able to think and process. And that's not necessarily a GPA thing. That's a processing power thing. And how you can interpret and play or interpret signals and translate that like things onto the field and on the fly and on the move. So we're looking for that. You have to be able to be effective in all three facets of the game, right? For us, that's run blocking, pass protection, and running routes and making plays in the passing game. Yes, we want. I've said all along, we don't want a sixth offensive lineman. We want somebody that's going to create a dynamic presence on the field.
What would you consider a successful spring game for your guys?
I think that, like in anything, right, if we're going to grade it like a game, it's going to be like, did we know what to do? Did we do it well? Did we play hard? When we had opportunities to make plays, did we make those plays? And so we grade that like we grade anything else. I grade practice the same way. So, I'd love for them all to catch every single ball and, let's throw it every single time to tight ends. That sounds awesome. But, it's going to help me a lot in recruiting. But I don't think that's going to be realistic. So whatever Dilly calls, that's what we'll do. So, but I want to see him play physical. I want to see him have an opportunity to make plays. And when they get those opportunities, take advantage of them.
What does Spencer specifically bring to your room? What does he offer you at your position?
I think Spencer has consistently improved this week. I think he's got great hands. He is really, really improved in the run game this spring. We've challenged him a lot there, and so I think that he continues to grow in all of those facets of it. He doesn't weigh as much as some of those other guys, but that's fine. Like, he's getting a lot better. So I think that he's played a lot of snaps. And I think that he can bring a multifaceted approach to our offense.
Have you ever coached someone as old as Cam or as experienced as Cam, and does that add as almost like a GA? Like, is he that kind of a presence in a room for you?
I think that he's got some, like you said, wisdom. He's been around. He's and when we're talking about, the general game of football, like, hey, what are we trying to get done on this play? Like, Cam knows a lot of that stuff, so that helps. And I think that applies a lot of pressure to some of the younger players. Like, oh, I don't know that. You know what I mean? Why do I not know that? Okay, hey, Cam, what do you think about that? So he's been a welcome, a blessing to be in that room in that sense. You know what I mean? So
Oregon's offense has been pretty run-heavy the past couple of years. Maybe haven't seen as much involvement with the tight ends. Everyone's really excited about Kenny's offense. What does that mean for the tight ends as far as their role moving forward?
We're asked to do a lot of things, and that's an awesome thing. We're asked to be involved in the pass game. We're asked to be involved in protections and run game. So we do a lot, which is great. There's never a boring day from that sense. So for the tight ends, that means you got to be able to think and be dynamic, right, in space, in the box, right there, in protection and in the run game. You got to be physical there too. So it's a really cool. Kenny's offense is a lot of fun for a tight end, in my opinion, because you got to do so many different things.